Well. Would you look at the boys from Snaps? I mean, here we go, dude. Beautiful Nashville skyline in the back. It's your boys T-Bob and Aaron live. Well, I guess not live. At SEC Media Days, though, bringing you all the coverage, boots on the ground. Aaron, what's up, man? Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, dude.
The hat looks good.
Yeah,
obviously, you didn't go to the buy one, get one free store because my ass doesn't have a hat. But
No, I did not. No, I went, so as I'm wont to do on these things, I like to go for like a little run around the city, kind of get the vibe of the place, and I wandered into about 3 or 4 different hat shops, and I felt very bad because I was fucking sweating profusely, and I'm just trying on these hats, guys, I apologize, I'm sorry, man, but I'm not coming back, so I have to so if any of the hats you try to buy in Nashville this week have a little bit of a musk, potentially it's a bit of mine. But eventually, we settled on a hat. I feel local. I'm feeling fucking good. Nashville's incredible.
Where the boots, though?
I've never been. It's piece by piece.
Okay.
I need jeans. I need jeans before I did boots.
Okay. All right.
And I tried some jeans, and I couldn't find any, man. I looked around. No luck to be had on the jeans front. But we're here at the Grand Hyatt. It's excellent. SEC Media Day moving around is awesome. Aaron, you got here late last night.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of fun plans, but today was day one. LSU, Mizzou, and Texas A&M all taking the podium. I talk LSU all the time, so I want to do this. I want to hear kind of some of your takeaways about LSU, and then I can maybe bounce off it a bit. What do you think about maybe Brian Kelly, the players they brought, or just kind of the team in general coming in?
Well, I thought Brian Kelly, you could just feel the comfort level. I mean, he wasn't really at media days, obviously being at Notre Dame, being an independent school. So the fact that now that this is his second go-around, he's got the rhythm of the entire situation. You could just feel there's a presence to him. And I always thought Brian Kelly was a top 6-7 coach in America based on what he did at Notre Dame. Kind of seeing what he did year one at LSU kind of elevates him to my mind as a top 5 coach in America. And he walks around with kind of that swagger, that presence that you like. Yeah. So I just think overall, from talking with him to talking with Jaden Daniels especially, you can feel a team that isn't sneaking around anyone like they were last year. I mean, what was like last year this time at SEC Media Days, we were talking about LSU possibly as the worst team in the SEC West.
Yeah.
A team that would be lucky to make a bowl game because of the roster change that happened from the year before. Now, all of a sudden, they're walking around here as the big bullseye on their back of, we're not talking about Alabama. We're talking about LSU and the Tigers, and now kind of being the kings of the SEC West as the SEC gets ready to change next year. So enjoyed sitting down talking with him. Still the big topic of depth is the question with LSU.
Yeah.
Not as much as last year, but, man, you can't hide. I said this the other day on our show. LSU, position by position, starters, is one of the most talented teams in America, no doubt about it.
Well, I think you hit on a couple of things, which is like, I don't know that you will find a bigger disparity at media days this year than who LSU brought last year, kind of how Brian Kelly felt, the questions that he was asked, the expectation levels between that and this. Maybe Jimbo, because it's a bit, but just in the inverse.
Yes.
Whereas last year they had all the hype and then everything's awful, and now all they're dealing with is awful questions. But last year could Brian Kelly recruit? Was Brian Kelly gonna fit? Would he be able to connect with the players? Who were the players gonna be? I mean, you had guys who ended up transferring out who barely played. They got chosen to come to SEC Media Day. Now you got an All-American interior D lineman. You got a 4th or 5th year running back. I always forget with Josh Williams. COVID screws everything up. And you got Jaden Daniels. Like we say, if you bring a quarterback to media days, you're probably in a better spot.
Yes.
Just off the jump than the teams that don't. And so I went to the for local media, they do like a little pre-room access, right? And so I got to talk to the players, and you hit the nail on the head. They are not shying away from the expectations.
Which is my big concern.
They mentioned national championships.
Yes, they did. That was I kept telling you, my concern was, I'm sure in the team, we want to win a national championship, but I felt like always the message to the media and to the outside world was, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. And Brian Kelly kind of hinted that a little bit today when he was talking about, we're closing the gap with Georgia. But
which is also honest, though.
Which is true. It is true. But when it comes to having at least the pieces, like let's take away injuries. Say LSU miraculously gets through the season with very little issues when it comes to injuries. Starter for starter, they're good enough to win a national championship this year. Like that should be the message.
Yeah.
And I feel like today was finally the first time I could hear that message to the public from players and from the coach.
And so Kelly always talks about alignment.
Yep.
And you could feel that alignment today where every player, because I was asking him a lot of expectation questions and kind of dealing with the growth from last year, this year, blah, blah. And so every player, again, they mentioned national championship unprompted, right? So they're fully aware. They're leaning into it. You should be. If you're scared, you're not, you don't stand a chance. But then immediately afterwards, every single one went like out of their way to be like, no, but at the same time, but that doesn't mean shit. Like, we have to do the day-to-day hard things, the process-oriented things that are going to set ourselves up to potentially fight for a championship. So I think it's a very confident team, infinitely more than last year. But also, I kind of understand where Brian Kelly's come from. He's had some quotes that some people feel like are at odds with one another, where he's talked about how, well, I think, year 3 will start to be kind of ready to compete, and we're not where Georgia's at. And again, all of that is true, and if you're a coach, you should feel like your program's going to be better in year 3. Like I get that. Maybe top to bottom it will be. Like your employees will understand more what's expected of them. You'll have a freshman class that would have been in your system for 2 years. Like everybody's going to know more of the process, but LSU has a window here in year 2 that they're not going to have in year 3.
No.
Because they have the quarterback, no one else does. They have all the returning coaches at a time when Georgia's replacing coaches, Alabama's replacing everybody. Like, LSU's got a really interesting window here. And for Brian Kelly, Aaron, there's a bit of an extra step of local pressure being applied, because you had Kim Mulkey win a natty year 2. You had Jay Johnson just win a natty year 2. And now everybody's like, holy fuck, dude. I mean, it looks like you might win a natty.
Yeah, that's fun.
No, not bad.
I know.
Not bad, but I'm saying, but legitimately, I think there's a better chance for them to win it this year than next year, even though the program overall could be in a better state next year.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I think the one advantage for LSU this year, which gives me confidence too, is not only Jaden, but the fact that Garrett Nussmeier is the backup quarterback. Like there is a sense of,
true.
Knock on wood, if I'm an LSU fan, I don't want Jaden to get hurt. I think that's wood, right? Yeah. That's fake wood.
That's faux wood.
No.
Yeah, it feels like faux wood. But we're idiots, bro. You have I like the knock on wood. With the boner, I do that all the time too. Wait, but look right here.
Yeah, right here.
There we go.
You don't want Jaden to get hurt, but there is a sense of confidence that if he does, you got backup Garrett Nussmeier. So in an era where it's I play or I leave, and a lot of teams are searching for a backup quarterback, and could be like KJ Jefferson last year in Arkansas, where if quarterback 1 gets hurt, the team goes to crap, or Bryce Young at Alabama. Bryce goes down, all of a sudden you have a quarterback in there. They won the games, but did not perform at a high level. A lot of turnover issues where LSU feels confident in Garrett. That being said, Brian Kelly told us earlier today too, we're putting Garrett Nussmeier in situations where he's going to continue to progress. That's why he came back.
Yes.
We sat him down and said, listen, Garrett, we're going to give you starting reps. We're going to give you opportunities in spring and summer and fall camp to continue to progress as a quarterback. It's like when your number's called, whether it is next year or the year after that, you're ready to go. So I get the sense of like, yes, Jaden is elite and Jaden could win a natty this year as a quarterback. I don't think you give Garrett another year in the system, though. I think LSU will be right back next year with
I guess that's true.
Really good quarterback.
I just doubt. I struggle to feel first-year starters being able to get there, but it happens. It's not like it doesn't happen. Like it does happen. If you're a
who's played a significant amount of reps, which he will,
that's true.
Plus, with a better team, hopefully around him, with the depth that's being built.
No, I feel you, and
it's like Carson Beck at Georgia. Guy that's played a lot, has a ton of potential, and has an elite team around him. What are we talking about Georgia? We're not talking about the fact that he hasn't played a lot. We've seen enough of him to know you put him on a really good team, he's going to ball out. I think you look to 2024 for LSU as that's going to be Garrett Nussmeier essentially.
So I think too. I think the other thing is nowadays, if you feel like you have a good backup, you have to you have to juice him up a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Because I have a little. I feel like this is true. I'm not going to say I 100% know this is true, but I think Nuss was going to leave before the not before the SEC championship. I think after season he was going to leave.
Yep.
Walker Howard was going to be the next guy up, but then he goes in that SEC championship, he balls,
Yep.
and then Kelly comes out in the public and is talking about how we got a really good and all of a sudden Walker Howard's one that feel left out. He ends up leaving, which is fucking wild because he's in the exact same spot at Ole Miss.
The same spot.
The exact except that maybe Jackson Dart is winning the job there, so actually it's even worse.
It's worse.
Yeah, it's actually worse. Yeah, it's actually worse.
I think he was thinking that Jackson Dart leaves.
Was done. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I would sit 1 year behind Spencer and then have my thing, and now it looks like Jackson Dart's going to be the guy. Then, Walker Howard's kind of sitting there with a dick in the hand, like, damn, what the fuck did I do?
But so the point is, yes, they love Nussmeier, and I think they basically told him, look, yes, you are the next guy. They've empowered him, so he feels comfortable and sit another year. And look, man. It's cliche, but you're always one play away in football. Help me out with this, Aaron, and then we'll move on from LSU. So, I don't want this to come whatever. It's LSU Day at SC Media Day. But a lot of people feel like Jaden Daniels is already a known quantity. And I understand this because he started for 4 years. He started 1 million games. But it's one of those things where when you zoom in, you see I don't know if I believe that, right? So he burst on the scene freshman year, these incredible numbers, then you had 2020 where they played 3 games or some shit. Then 2021 took a massive step back, 10 touchdowns, 10 picks, Arizona State in shambles. He comes to LSU. He kind of refines that freshman form. So when people tell me, oh, Jaden Daniels is a known quantity, I'm like, I don't think so, dude. I think Jaden Daniels has massive potential to take a huge leap because not only last year did we see him he threw 7 more touchdowns. He threw 7 less picks. He threw for 600 more yards. He increased completion percentage. He ran for 5 more touchdowns. But also now he's the guy. He had an entire offseason of being the guy. You're the leader. You're the starting quarterback. You have the same coaches, and they're markedly better coaches than what you were dealing with at Arizona State.
Yep.
And so give me the quarterback perspective. How much of a jump, even though this is going to be his 5th year starting, does he actually have room left to take a big
100%.
lead?
I saw it in the spring game when I was down there in Baton Rouge. I talked to the coaching staff there, then they told us, we put him in situations that made him uncomfortable. And you're like, well, once again, a 5th-year quarterback, what situations can you put him to be uncomfortable? Well, it was the vertical passing game.
Yeah.
They scripted plays in practice that forced him to throw the ball down the field, and he just got better and more comfortable every single day in practice, where all of a sudden we're watching him in the spring game. I'm like, damn, is this the same Jaden Daniels that we saw last season?
Good,
so
dude.
All of a sudden now, with those receivers, with Taylor at tight end, and with a quarterback that's not afraid to throw the ball down the field, you can't add a safety into the box. You got to play a little bit more too high. Well, if you want to do that, then Jaden, who feels comfortable because Garrett's the backup, can take off and run the ball a little bit more. So now all of a sudden things are really going to be clicking for him because he's going to be able to see, hey, too high, I can get to my reads a little bit faster, take off and run, single high, I trust my vertical passing attack with my arms. So I think Jaden is going to take a massive stride. And I've talked to a lot of people this week this week so far. A lot of people have him as their dark horse to be in New York for a Heisman too.
Well, I think he's got the second best odds right now. Which it makes me a little wary, but you know what? It's better to be there than not be there if you're an LSU fan.
Hey, if you're LSU, just buy the hype, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Jump
just
on the train.
Give yourself
Don't be scared.
Dude. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch, dude.
I hate,
be like Aaron
I hate
when Nick
teams are a
Fairley
bitch.
broke his ribs. Yeah, I agree.
I hate when teams but you have a really good fucking team and you have an elite quarterback. You're going to be really good this year.
Yeah.
Just own it.
I agree. Look, the other players that are there, Josh Williams, I think, whatever, he's a solid running back, but he's a former walk-on. It's a great story, somebody who just kind of earned his way here. But the guy I'm excited about, Mekhi Wingo last year, played 30 more snaps than any defensive lineman in the country. He was an All-American, and now Mason Smith comes back. So LSU feels like going to be really good. Also on the docket today, Mizzou. And we don't talk a ton of Mizzou, but it kind of makes sense, right? We do like a 40-minute podcast every day. So Mizzou struggles to break into the news cycle. But I was thinking about this today, dude, and I know this is faulty logic. Okay, so I get it. Mizzou, was so tantalizingly close to being 5-3 in the SEC with a Georgia win. 5-3 would have been third place in the SEC East, no questions asked, with a win over the team that nobody else could beat. And you know what? Fuck it. Take the Georgia thing out of it. They really should not have lost to Auburn. No. And I know a lot of teams say that, but like that was one of the craziest.
There's 2 or 3 games last year they should have won.
It was unreal.
It's not like a coulda, shoulda won. Like they should have won.
Yeah, it's like,
those games, it's not like you missed a
field goal, or it's not like it's like you fucking dropped the ball going into the end zone like an asshole.
They missed an extra point. Essentially, they missed an extra point.
They did. I forgot.
It was an extra point they missed to go to overtime.
And they fumbled into the end zone when he was crossing over for the dub.
Stupidest shit. That's the reason why they lost.
So the point is, what do you make of Mizzou?
I think Mizzou's in a must win situation.
They extended drink.
I know, but they need a big season, man. They need to plant their flag in the ground and kind of tell, the rest of the SEC that we are going to be. They need to be like Kentucky. We're going to be 500.
What? Just a constant disappointment?
No. We're going to be in that 500 range, and then every 3 years we'll get to 8 wins or 9 wins. And kind of have that 1 year that kind of gives fans like this great hope that we have a really good football team, and keeps Eli alive.
Like, that does sound like Kentucky.
That sounds like Kentucky.
Yeah, sure.
That should be Missouri's goal. My worry is if you can't do that this year, and then you add Texas and Oklahoma, then all of a sudden you're 2 spots back, and then you kind of lose any sort of momentum. So they need, as a program, a momentum-building year this year, and I think Eli kind of knows that. So, listen, he's given up the play-calling duties, which I like. Gets to focus on just being a head coach. Luther Burns going to move more to the slot. He's a hell of a receiver. I think he needs a big year. Sorry for the outside noise. We are doing this outside.
Well, I don't know. We have these lav mics on. They might hear that. There's a giant boat or train. Not a boat. We're not by the water, are we? That'd be a train. Yeah. So a lot of train tracks, a lot of cranes, dude. They appear to be building a second city on top of the city that's already here. I've never seen anything like it.
But Missouri, they're good. I don't think there's anything on the team. Nothing there scares you. They got a good defense returning.
I love their D coordinator, Blake Baker. Very
they
good.
They got a good receiver returning. They got to figure out the quarterback spot.
What do you think? Okay, but you kind of raise an interesting point. When you think about the expansion of the SEC, like, this is the last year of divisions, which we know, but I don't know if we've, fully grappled with. Like, it's going to fucking drastically change things. Mm-hmm. Because, last year, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you're kind of ecstatic. You end up 4-4 in the SEC. You beat Ole Miss. You finish 3rd in the SEC West. That's a solid-ass year. But what does that look like in an expanded SEC, where you don't have divisions, and 3rd becomes 8th? Or 7th, I don't know what customer satisfaction is going to look like for these kind of mid-tier schools in the future. Like right now, like you said, if Missouri's like the 3rd or 4th best SEC team, and they were like 4-4, I think that they would be. I think fans would be happy.
Yes.
Am I being disrespectful?
No, expectations are not sky high at Missouri. Like you came into the SEC, had some initial success. They made it to Atlanta twice early on. I've kind of died off a little bit since, but I don't think there's any Missouri fans ever are thinking we're ever going to get to be Alabama or LSU or Georgia. I'm saying there are certain teams that just have to accept that the Kentucky role, or the Kentucky positioning inside the SEC, and I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. There's something to be said about being happy with being, an 8-4 team.
Well, you don't want to be shit.
You
want to be. Anybody wants to be maximizing their potential, and it is hard to legitimately argue that Missouri has the potential of a Georgia or an LSU. I'm not saying that there's not people out there that would argue that, because of course they would, whatever. But Mizzou, I think if you're being realistic about kind of what the school has, that they were so close. But that is also kind of the razor-thin margin, right? They were so close to being satisfactory last year, but in the end, it does end up being a failure.
Yes.
Because 3-5 is not good enough, especially when you should have beaten that Auburn team.
Yes.
And now Auburn's going to get better.
Yeah.
So Hugh Freeze, I think Peyton Thorne isn't talked about enough when it comes to Auburn. Not that Peyton Thorne, but look at Peyton Thorne's year 2 years ago when they had Kenneth Walker, Michigan State, were really good.
Don't peek too soon. Auburn's in a couple days.
I know.
We'll get to Auburn. We'll get to Auburn.
You're right. Okay,
I know Peyton Thorne's going to be the starting quarterback yet. Let's.
So Mizzou, where do you think they finish in the East? And then we'll move to A&M.
Oh man, I think Mizzou's somewhere around that 4 mark. I think Tennessee, obviously Georgia's a better team. I think Tennessee's a better team. I think Kentucky this year is a better team because they have more faith in their quarterback.
Devin Leary's a dog.
Devin Leary's a dog. I think they got some receivers that come back from last year.
Kentucky couldn't do it with Will Levis and Chris Rodriguez. Why should I think they could do it with
You
Devin
hope the
Leary?
offensive line gets better. That's going to be the big question
Actually,
for
you know what
Kentucky.
it is? It's Liam Cohen, too.
Yeah, and Liam Cohen's back as the offensive coordinator. So I'd say they're fighting for that number 4 spot somewhere in there. I think they're better than Florida. I think they're better than Vanderbilt.
You think Mizzou's better than Florida?
I think Mizzou's better this year, better than Florida.
Fuck.
I think they're better than Vanderbilt.
Yeah, for sure.
Who am I missing in the East?
I always have trouble.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
That's the team they're going to battle with. They're going to battle with South Carolina for that 4 spot.
So everybody's hyping up South Carolina.
I'm not.
I'm like so concerned that it's just fool's gold off of a couple of sexy wins at the end.
I'm with you.
I'm with you. Maybe it's not. I mean, Beamer has proven me wrong before, but I just a little. I think I might have chosen him 3rd last night, though. I'm not sure, but I'm still a little concerned. So the final team today, Texas A&M Aggies. Really, the only other player with star power besides Jane Daniels and Anaya Smith coming with A&M today. But wait, Aaron. So we haven't. It's in weird because like we don't cover this event like a journalist does, right? So like we don't sit there and go to every press conference, ask every question. You're hosting a show normally. I'm going around doing hits after doing my show. So the point is like, did you get to hear his answer about who's calling plays with Petrino?
Yeah, it was awful. He kept deflecting it the entire day.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I will defend him here. I think it's more of a schematic advantage. I mean, he just doesn't want people to be able to prep for him. But
Nah, dude, I don't think he's giving Petrino play calling
I
duties.
think he has to be giving.
Why? But here's my question.
No,
Why
he's
does he have to? Why does he have to?
Because
Answer me that.
Petrino would not have taken the job if he wasn't going to get the play calling duties.
Fuck it, Petrino. Okay. Actually, there does feel
Why
like
the hell would
there.
Petrino come here to sit around on his hands?
There's truth there. It did not sound, today it did not sound like.
I don't know why he doesn't want to give the play calling duties. One, you have a dude that you can at least now blame if your offense sucks. 2, you take that pressure off where you're not having to call plays. I mean, I talked to David Green about this, former Georgia quarterback. I always thought
Fuck
Bobo.
David
I always
Green,
thought
dude.
Bobo.
Wasn't it David Green who just torched LSU in like 04 in Athens?
Maybe.
Or 05, maybe. I was
No,
at
that was
game.
Shockley.
No,
Shockley was
wasn't
SC championship game.
Yeah,
Oh,
it wasn't Shockley.
That was Greeny. Yes, that was
either
Greeny.
way, whatever. I one time sat in the ramps in Sanford with my head in my hands wondering how I was going to go to school on Sunday. Actually, Green might have been in Georgia. It doesn't matter. Or it might have been in LSU. It doesn't matter, though. Whatever. Fuck David Green's the point. But continue.
But anyway, Greeny, I always thought Bobo was the OC, and it wasn't. It was Coach Rick. So I guess numerous years later, he went to Greeny, and Greeny asked him, like, why'd you give the play calling duties? And Rick told him, he's like, I had to. He's like, I couldn't keep up with the times. As a coach in the offseason, I was doing this recruiting trip, this donor dinner, this and that. Like, I couldn't study to figure out how my offense can evolve, essentially. So I think Jimbo's at that point, too, where, like, there are so many responsibilities as a head coach.
Yeah.
It's hard to evolve when you don't have time for it. He's got to give up the play calling duties. I think there are very few coaches that can do both. Very few.
True.
How many top 25 coaches do both?
True.
How
but
maybe 2 or 3?
Lincoln does.
Lincoln,
Ryan Day just gave
it up.
Is Day giving it up
Day
officially?
gave it up.
Okay.
Kirby doesn't.
Lane calls.
Lane calls.
Right? For sure.
Lane calls.
Yeah. But your point stands.
Very few.
It's a handful.
It's a handful.
But the idea of he has to give it up, he kind of fucking doesn't.
No, he
Jimbo
doesn't.
holds all the cards,
does.
dude.
He does.
You can't fire him. And like, okay, like so to me it's like you're right. You make a very good point with Petrino, and why would he take the job if he wasn't guaranteed play calling duties? And so I don't have a great rebuttal for that. But if we wanted to play with the idea that Jimbo's really not going to give it up, he doesn't really have to.
No, he doesn't.
He can go fall on his sword. He can be like, no.
Then why would he
if
hire?
you're going to fire me,
Why would he fire Bobby Petrino then?
because they made him, or because he had to go
Once
hire
again,
someone.
if you're telling me that he doesn't have to, he can do what the fuck he wants, then why would he go
because
hire
they made him
someone?
hire someone.
But then why hire Bobby Petrino then?
I don't know.
Hire some young kid that you don't have to, like, you can just say he's not ready and I'm doing it myself and he's here to help me. Why hire a guy with that experience and that knowledge of offense?
Yeah, very fair points. Even though, but like, why hire him anyway? Because Bobby Petrino's offense was also shit last year. Like, he wasn't even good on the FCS level. He had that good Arkansas game, but if you look up the numbers, like,
Nothing
his
sexy.
offense was just as bad as A&M's nearly. So all great points. All I'm saying is, I don't think it's also that crazy for Jimbo to have a world where he's like, all right, fuck it. I'm going down with my sword in my hand. Like, you want to fire me? Fire me.
That's an $80 million sword.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I win either way. Like, I've played this out. Like, it's like you would have to have the time stone from Avengers, and you could go into infinite realities. And I don't think there's one reality where Jimbo Fisher actually loses.
No.
Like he's already won the end game,
Yes.
so he doesn't really have to do anything.
No.
But very salient points about Bob Petrino. Like, I do see what you're saying. I don't know why Petrino would agree to come there if he wasn't guaranteed to at least be able to run his offense.
Big picture football team wise, it's a good football team. There's only a few teams that have elite talent the way that A&M does to be able to compete for, with Alabama, with LSU, with Georgia. They got the blue chip guys. They got the quarterback this year in Connor Wegman. They got the receivers. Evan Stewart, Anais is back. Moose Muhammad's back. They're going to have a good offensive line. Defense gave up, 21, 22 points per game last year.
Yeah.
They returned pretty much everyone on the defense side of the football. So they should be really good. They should be a 9, possibly 10-win team, but they also should have been that last year too.
Well, that's the problem.
But they also had a quarterback who I didn't believe in Haynes King. That to me is the difference this year. They have a legitimate quarterback who I believe can consistently get those receivers the ball.
Well, that's what nobody's really giving A&M any grace for last year is just their awful rotating door at quarterback that they had. Because Max played as well.
Max got hurt.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but like, what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, they had to keep running people in.
Max was the guy, got hurt.
And there was Haynes first, though, right?
Haynes, then Max.
Yes.
Max got hurt. Haynes came back in for the rest of the year, and then Connor finished it off.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if we're doing but I feel like this isn't talked about that much. Right. But if we're doing like the what do you like when you dissect a body? The autopsy.
Yeah.
If we're doing the autopsy and you're like, well, how did this completely healthy, fit person die? We're like, well, he had clogged arteries. Like, his quarterbacks kept getting hurt.
Yes.
Like, you can have the best roster in the world. And also, like, if we accept that Jimbo's system is already outdated and he's not the best offensive coordinator, and then you combine that with rotating to a quarterback, young offensive line, like, that is a recipe for fucking up a really good roster.
Yes.
And so it doesn't become that hard to understand how they failed so hard. That's why I think, do you agree with this statement? Texas A&M is maybe the most volatile team in the SEC in terms of, like, after last year, all bets are kind of off. It could be another disaster, but if it lines up, you could be looking at 9-1 in 2020 again.
Yes.
Like how they did in COVID year.
100%. They can make it happen. Please, Jimbo, please, for all of our sake, just give up the play calling duty.
Nah,
just take a step back.
No, Jimbo.
Let Bobby do it.
Bro.
Let Bobby do his thing.
How old does Roman Harper do?
He's in pretty damn good shape.
29 right now.
Roman Harper?
No. Definitely. He looks 29.
We heard 29. Yes, he looks 29.
Talking about your video.
Oh, how many minutes? Thank you, though. That's actually a great update to know.
Perfect note.
No, Ro looks incredible.
Looks great.
He's so jacked.
You look great.
You look great.
Thank you.
You really
Let's do a show live.
Look at those shades, dude.
I know.
Look at
Live
God,
snaps.
guys.
Make sure you leave a comment
Well,
about
actually,
how good live.
Well, we're not
live
live,
good
though.
snaps.
Oh, you mean like in person?
Like in person.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Very fun. There he is. God, look at him, dude. He's just unbelievable. His arms are so big. I had a random Canadian dude talking to me at the pool earlier, and he was talking about meeting this guy last night at the bar. This gentleman, he's like, I think he's my age, and buddy, he has like the biggest arms I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it had to be Ro.
Yeah.
Roman Harper.
God, scary man. There's his twin brother right there.
Wait, what? Oh my God!
It looks like him.
By the way, we're poolside. I mean, that's how good life is for the Snaps boys right
Hopefully
now.
my wife isn't watching this, so she's probably taking care of both kids.
Oh, trust me, bro. I am. You know what? It just is what it is, man. It's work, you know.
Oh,
Sometimes work is fun, and we're just lucky enough that this is one of those fun work days. Who's up tomorrow for SEC Media Days?
Georgia.
Okay. I don't know either off the top of my head. I was hoping you did.
Nope.
Come on, bro. Don't you work for Sirius XM? I do a local
I
Baton Rouge
I take it one day at a time.
Yeah, you're right. One play at a time.
One play at a time.
One play. The goal.
I'll figure
one
out
snap
tomorrow.
and clear.
Ellie, who's tomorrow? You know?
Ellie probably definitely has it on lock.
Yes. Who is tomorrow? I know the Dogs are tomorrow.
I'll say this. I'm excited to explore Nashville a bit more tonight. I had maybe the best tacos I've ever had in my life last night, and I had a delicious this little food truck outside of this tiki bar, Chopper.
San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Maybe by tomorrow I'll have a
okay,
hat
dude.
and some boots too.
Yeah,
All right, before
bro.
my phone dies.
Yeah, okay. We'll wrap it up. Oh, okay. Auburn, Georgia, Mississippi State, Vandy tomorrow.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, Mississippi State, the complete unknown. Who knows? I mean, I have no idea. How am I hating? I picked them to finish last, and yet they have a SEC record holder in his own right, returning for his 4th year of starting. Look, we'll get into all of it tomorrow, right here on Snaps. A huge thank you to Danny Cardenas, Ryan Brumley, Paul Farrington, Adam Gracia, everybody, Papa Colin, everybody sending us here, and huge thank you to everybody listening. Remember, share the show, youtube.com/@volumesnaps. Sub to the YouTube, rate and review the pods wherever you listen, and we'll see you tomorrow live from Nashville for brand new Snaps.